Okay, I think we're live. Camera permission denied. But I'm going to assume that you can see me anyway. Let me know if you can. I'm going to minimize that. Pop it up there. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick, let me put my phone on silent. I'm going to do a poster and you're going to join me. Now, I'm not by any means a teacher, or I've never even done a tutorial before, and I'm used to doing this on my own with music playing and no one looking over my shoulder. In fact, I really don't like that, but kind of digging my own grave here. Anyway, yeah, I am live, just checking. Although nothing's coming through on my live feed. Like, I can see it on my phone, but I can't see anything if anyone's writing. But anyway, so we are designing a poster. I know I was going to do this later, but I'm going to do another one as well. I just thought I'd have a quick, sort of dry run, and see how it went before fully committing. Anyway, hopefully you can all hear me okay. I've got my Rode mic set up, webcam, and you should be able to see me on the bottom corner of your screen down here. Anyway, so we are going to design a poster for a guy called Tony Grimes. He was in the other week for a publicity package with us at Streetstar, and yeah, can someone type to me so I can check that you can all see it? Oh, there's 19 comments. Why can't I see these on my computer? I'm just going to have my phone going, I reckon, so I can see these comments in real time. It's not working. Bear with me. So the first thing I've got to do is I need to pick photos, because Tony actually hasn't chosen his photos, and usually I would get the artist to choose their favourite pictures out of a bunch. Let's have a look here. There we go. So I'm just going to turn the volume down on that. Hey, Robbie, I thought you might join in. Robbie Barr, who's just dropped on down there at the bottom, I can see. I've just done, how many? 8 posters for you? Something like that. Hey, Liam. So yeah, basically I need to go through these images, and you can maybe help me out as well. I'm in my garden room, so hopefully the connection's okay. Yes, so you can hear me. It's come through now. It's just me and my cat over there, just Leo sleeping, which I would be if I could be. Anyway, so Tony Grimes, he's a bit of everything, really. If I can get this window up here, I can get the info that needs to go on the poster, which if you're making your own posters, you'll already have the info you need. But he's a DJ, singer, compere, wedding party host, and a surprise singing waiter. So that's a lot of sort of variables to put into one poster. So for that kind of person, I would tend to try and make sure that the poster is, the spectrum in sort of visual terms is wide. So it doesn't sort of make him look that he's just like a crooner, or, a tribute act for a certain thing. Even as far as just a cover singer, like, you've got to be careful. But luckily, we've got pictures here. These are a couple of headshots. Oh, wrong screen. 1 sec. Let's move this over for you. Can you see that? So these are just simple test shots, I think, from the beginning of the shoot. But there's a fair few different kinds of pictures. So, see, I personally like the colourful ones. Now, for me, I design going off a picture. So whether you've had a shoot in the studio or you've got your own photos, if your photographer or our photographer is shot a certain way, it might be that in this one, obviously, they've used blue. Oh, I'm spazzing out. There we go. They've used blue on the lighting, I would tend to make that sort of flow throughout the poster. It's always better to use natural light than me to try and change and manipulate different lighting colours. If like this, for instance, it's quite sort of a moody one, although not as moody as we sometimes have them. It's got quite a lot of shadow on this side. I thought I'd put that on flipping silent. Bear with me. There we go. Hi, Andy. So I would basically design from that a bit of a moodier poster like that. That's a cracking shot because, I mean, I don't know what you'd use it for just as a picture, but in poster terms, you could make a poster out of that by itself. You know, you could put sort of info up here, and depending on how sort of glossy and flashy you want it to be, it might not be what Tony wants, but just for, you know, the purpose of this tutorial sort of thing, I am going to design something that's really quite, you know, in your face and big. So I need some pretty exotic photos if I can. Nice bit of pinky purple there. Let's see. Oh, it's sort of lagging a little bit behind, but I can see at least. And I'm getting your messages through on my phone, which is good. Might have to take it out of its case. Just bear with me a sec. I will get on with choosing a photo in a second. But if you're watching this and you don't feel like watching it now, you can come back at the end and rewind. Put that on charge. There we go. Got one of them nice little stand-up charger things. Yeah, as I say, you can rewind this and watch it later. Oh, there we go again. Keep making me look like a DJ. That's funny. I don't know if you can see it, me doing that, but anyway, for me, it keeps weirding out the camera. So yeah, basically I need to find a photo that I like, and then I need to change the name so I know which photo it is for later. I always tend to, when I'm picking photos, I tend to sort of stagger them in my head. You know, always think of what kind of background I want, which I think I may use 2 pictures for this. I might use a main background image and then a sort of front shot. Keep it sort of center weighted. A lot of the time I make designs that are sort of, you know, something coming in from one side and then the main image at the front on the opposite side. But for this one, we're going to go center. That's a good picture. I like that. Good looking guy, Tony. Oh, there we go. My camera's off on one again. Can you let me know if my camera's afternoon fella? Keep it up, mate. Cheers, Johnny. Can you let me know if my camera's messing up for you guys? I know you can only see me down here in the little corner of the screen, but anyway, so I'm gonna just, for easier viewing, I'm just gonna go through these pictures like this for now, just so I can choose the background one. And I keep burping. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I'm drinking Copperberg. Probably shouldn't be, you know, with immune systems being lowered by alcohol and that. So because I'm doing it quite center weighted, I can either choose a photo that is, you know, dead center and for the background and use it as is, or I can use one that comes in from the sort of side and double or mirror image it so that you've got 2 of the same image coming from each side at the back. Oh, that's a corker. I like that. So these ones he had done on the stage, which is another option for the upgraded photography pack that you get at the studio. You get standard photography, which is just in the studio, and then you get a live sort of feel shoot as well, which is, I like them. I like the live ones. I really like the red in there. I always find red and blue goes together well, red and purple. That one's lovely. You see, because of the idea that I've got to have it, see, I'm doing it again. Because of the idea that I've got to have it sort of a big image in the background, Oh my God, what's going on? Is my camera spazzing out for everyone else? Or is it okay? You have to let me know. Tony's messaged me. Everything else is cool. Cool. He's given me his details that he wants on anyway, which is good. Let me know if... oh, Keith's calling me. I obviously can't accept it right now. So, do you know what? I might... Let me just put that as one. Just in case. I'm going to probably use that. And we've got that one. See, that one's cool. I could more than likely do something with that. 2. So after I've chose these, After I've chose these pictures, we'll go through how I sort of prepare them to go into a poster. Because before they go in, they need any sort of imperfections, cropping and photoshopping out. 3. Oh, excellent. That one's quite cool. I like that. It's already got a sort of natural flair here that I can emphasize. So let's grab that one as well. 4. I don't think he'll appreciate me using that one, so we'll get rid of that one. That one. No. See, that one's quite good. I really like that. It's got a bit of character because he's doing something. He's not sort of posing, I don't think, for the camera. So difficult choosing pictures, especially when the artist hasn't chose which picture they want. Now I know how you guys feel. Anyway, let's have a look at that. That one's pretty cool. I think we've got enough there. Refresh that so they go to the top. Now I need one that's not sort of, stagey. I need something that's quite central and facing forward. Let's have a look here. That's quite cool. Although it's half body shot, there's not that much of him in frame. So I think my girlfriend wants me. Nope, she's going again. She's seen him on live. She's like, I'm not going in there. I don't know why. She's done her makeup. So yeah, basically I would need more legs. A bit more. Some people don't like full length body shots though. I don't think there's any in this folder. I'll have to have a look. Let me have a look in another folder. He did have 2 shoots with us. This one's full of full length shots. Mind you, I'm sitting down, his shots might be okay. Let's have a look. Oh, my back's killing me. I've been sort of bending down, helping with the garden a little bit. She's out there cutting the grass now. Right, well, I'll tell you what, I've got an idea anyway, because these are the, sort of speed bumps we're going to come across, and you will as well. I'm going to find one that's decent enough, and it doesn't have to be full length. Let's have a look at that. Kind of want him looking at the camera, even though these are pretty cool. Could do with him looking forward. I think a poster sells a lot more if the main image is looking at whoever's looking at the poster. A lot of people look off camera, and that's 9 times out of 10 when they're shy having the photos taken, or it's a specific look that they're going for. But in this instance, a front-facing shot would be appreciated. See, it's DJ as well, so not that one. Have a look here. I could possibly used that, but he just doesn't look very happy, does he? Tony, why do you look so grumpy? Every time I see you, you're smiling, and then you have your photos done. He's like, anyway, might have to use that. No, he's not looking at the camera. So, because he's not looking at the camera in this picture, this one, I'm going to have to make sure that one of the others is really good. Okay, so let's just name that 6. He probably won't even like any of these pictures that I've chose. So, okay, so that's that done for now. The back image, we don't really need to cut out or anything. It's just the main front image. So get rid of that and open Photoshop. That's something I made yesterday. I blew Peter. I forgot Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. Tommy. Do you use Mac? No, I don't use Mac, Tommy, but it's pretty much the same. You can Photoshop's on everything. Some of the, keyboard shortcuts are slightly different, but it's only Command and Control, I think. So let's get rid of that and open New. So this is, I tend to design all my posters A3 size, because A3 at 300 dpi, pixels per inch, I should say. Background doesn't really matter, so we'll keep that white for now. And I tend to do that because a lot of people will either print the posters off A4 or, up to sort of A2-ish, A1. If you're having something bigger and you want someone else to design it, make sure you tell them. But as far as I'm concerned, A3 is plenty big enough. Okay, so that's that. Now, the front poster picture. Oh, that's pretty cool as well. Nah, looks like he's working for a big corporate company or something. So just pop in the main front image, and all we need to do now is separate him from the background. I use this tool, which is Quick Selection tool. And let me just tell you my settings for Quick Selection. It's on 17% hardness, which should be on 20, I think. And you can make it as big or small as you like. And basically, you just select around him. A lot of people, take the time out and they use the lasso tool, or I don't even know what it's called, polygonal lasso tool, which basically you just draw around to cut them out. I find when the background's pretty clean, like this one, you can just use your Quick Selection tool and then clear up any sort of bits that it's missed afterwards. Like here, the microphone is it's slightly missed out the top, and as much as if I hold Alt, it will change it from select to deselect, so I can deselect around here. But for this, I'm just going to use the lasso tool, which then you can draw. You've got to have quite a steady hand, but if not, there's always the magnetic one, which is just as easy to use, to be honest. Easier. I just prefer to make things harder for myself. So this is just to make sure that every little bit of what you want is selected. Oh, there's a little bit missed there. As I say, this is going to be quite a long tutorial, so hope you've got a cup of tea, coffee with you. I mean, most people know how to cut people out. If you're doing anything on Photoshop, it's one of the first things you learn. If not, there's YouTube videos on how to do it, but that's just a quick, basic, selection. Now I've selected him. Now all you do is right click, select inverse, and that selects everything that you haven't selected, and then duplicate what it's selected. The shortcut on my keyboard is Control J. And then over here, if you see in the layers panel, it's just added another layer, remove the bottom layer, and boom, it's cut out. So I would save that now as 2U's 1 in Tony Grimes' folder. just save it as a Photoshop file. It's fine. I can probably make myself a bit bigger. There we go. Is that better? Do I look good? Free for cyber dates. If any female singers out there, you're funny. That's funny. He's not. I think he's married. Yeah, there's a. Oh no, that's not the wedding hand, is it? Anyway. Okay, so we're pretty much done with that. There's not really much that we can do with his face, in a good way, mate. I mean, you know, there's nothing there that we really want to change too much. Maybe, you know, give you some hair, but that's another tutorial. That's what I do on all my pictures. If you see any of my pictures on Facebook, I've probably added more hair. Tuck my face in a bit, as you do. So it looks on my current image. Yeah, don't show me that, Tony. I don't want to see your current stuff. I'm trying to make something different here. Okay, so as I was saying, I try and make sure that the if you've got sort of feature images like this, for instance, you've got like a lot of smoke there and already the lighting's kind of set. I would tend to bounce the ideas off that photo, you know, make it all match sort of thing. Let's not use that one for now. Let's have a look at this. It's kind of a funny upward angle, isn't it? I'm not sure about that one, although I do really like the colours. So let's see if we've got another one similar. That's cool. That is cool. I don't know if I would try and make it a bit bigger. Nah. Let's go with the red for now. So pop it up there, make it a tad bigger. Drop it down a touch. We've got a gap at the top there, which is where I want to put a title. What I would do, this is a really lazy way of doing it, but select with the select tool up at the top, which is this one, with that layer highlighted. Control J, again, duplicates, and then it's just copied that top bit above him, and hold Shift, stretch it up. That's really quite a lazy way of doing it, but it doesn't matter so much because we're going to put a vignette around there later, or some light flares or something, which I'll show you in the effects pack that I have accumulated over the last 8 years or so of designing. So this is going to be a background image of which we want to base the whole sort of poster off, the color scheme and whatnot. Down here we've got sort of a blank area which we want to fill in. So in my effects pack here, Streetstar Studios, to wait a second, it's on an external hard drive. I don't think you'd have to wait that long. So my effects pack consists of number 6, which is graphics, and PSD folder and effects, which has got a lot of stuff in it, which we will get to later. They're sort of the finishing touches. In graphics, we've got all sorts of stuff that you won't need, but these top folders, backgrounds, they're sort of backgrounds that I've just collected over a period of time. Some of them are good, some of them aren't so. But for this, I would like to put some bricks at the bottom, because I know Tony and I know the kind of, you know, sort of artist he is. I mean, a lot of posters, they're, you know, built on personality as well as the image. And that doesn't look much at the moment, but wait for it. We'll get there. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to copy that piece at the top. So I've put the bricks in the background. This is really long talking through it while I'm doing it. I'd love to just be able to do it. Anyway, that piece we copied earlier, the smoke at the top above his head, just maybe copy that again, see what it looks like down here above him. Below him, sorry, below him. And then we go through the layer styles, which is just here. It's on normal at the moment. It's probably going to be multiply. That's multiply. Kind of like multiply for now. It's just to give, so it fits in with the scheme of the poster. Look at some others. I like the red theme. I don't often do many red posters, to be fair. No, I definitely like the soft light better. Okay, let's leave that there for now. So, text. I always add text last. When you finish sort of building a background, you will put that in a folder as well. Let's have a look here. Tony's messaged me. Yeah, cheers, Tony. Dom doesn't, but a couple of our videographers do. Do you use Mac? Oh, Lisa's replying for me. What a star. Grow my hair for the next 3 months. Funny guy. So, let's crack on. Okay, where was I? Now, I'm just for the background, I'm going to put... I really think that could be bigger. Nah. I'm going to put some effects onto the background before we put the main image on the front. So if I show you my effects folder now, there's sort of effects in here, but the majority is backgrounds. So if I go back, this effects folder is available if you want to buy it. And it's got hundreds. This one particularly is all stuff like, background particles, sort of highlights that come in from the side, light and lens flares that sort of, if you want rays of light coming in from an angle, or if you want to put a shine on some text or whatever. It's even got cartoon bolts and, lightning bolts and stuff, and CD footers. I don't know. Loads of stuff. And it's one of them, there's usually something in here that just adds an extra dimension to any poster. It's just remembering what you've got and, sort of knowing your way around it all. So what do I want? You can search in here, particles, let's say, light particles. Light particles, there we go. So just pop them on there. And I don't know if you can see, these are just little specks of light. Sort of like stars, but not stars. And as I say, you just pop things on there. Obviously, not too much, don't overcrowd it. I used to make things too technical and too much. Sometimes simplicity is key, but in this case, it's not simple because he has so many different shows. Being a DJ, singer, flipping wedding party host, compere, and what's it? Surprise singing waiter. Anyway, I've just noticed on my screen there's a lag, sort of, before you're seeing it on my phone screen. Before you're seeing it, I've said this like 20 seconds delay or something. Anyway, black particles, right? Let's have a look at those. So, nah, I do that a lot. I put things on the screen and think, I'll even look for something and think, oh, that'd be good. Let's have a look for a cloud. I've got a cloud here, which is just a normal, cloud that you'd get in the sky, which you can make bigger. Hold shift and stretch the corners out. Shift just means that you'll keep the dimensions of the image that you're stretching. Like all the images in this pack as well are massive. It's just when you put them onto an A3 poster, it basically just keeps it at the size that you need. Otherwise, if I was putting stuff on, it'd be huge. So we've got a bit of a cloud there. Obviously, it's too white. We need to go on to blending options. It's not for kids, this tutorial. And then we can go to sort of gradient overlay. To make it match the background, we would then click on the gradient that we want. There's only really sort of 2-3 colors in there, 2 or 3 shades in there. So find something, any gradient that's got three colors in it. You know, we've got a yellow and orange one there, and you just click on the little tab here, and then go to your color, and then it gives you this little droppy thing, if you can see it there, like a little color dropper. And you can select the color you want to select, like there. We've got a bit of red now. It will probably go for the darker one at the bottom because that's, you know, makes more sense. Okay, and then the middle color, we can go for a brighter sort of red. Okay, and then even brighter if we can up here. And sort of manipulate that a little bit ourselves just so that it pops out a touch more. Okay, and then we can go down the layer style of that, which is this little drop down box at the top, and choose a better one. It might just be a case of fading it, to be honest. I reckon so. Another thing is as well, when you're starting these posters in Photoshop, it gives you the option to choose whether it's in RGB mode or CMYK. CMYK is used mainly for print, but I prefer RGB because I can see what I'm getting on the screen, and 9 times out of 10, most of the posters are used on social media. Okay, there we go. Let's just, do you know what? I'm going to change that again. I think I might pop that color up there, that one down here, and that one there. Let's have a look at that. Nah, cancel that. Okay, now we've colored the cloud in basically. What you can do then is, I think it's just too obvious that it's a cloud, and why would you have clouds underneath unless you use, you know, I've got the little camera flap hiding my tabs there. Bear with me. You can see that now, can't you? So I would go up to filter, down to blur, and probably just Gaussian blur, or I think it's Gaussian or Gaussian. Sounds like a French word, Gaussian blur. Anyway, select that, just change the radius until you're happy with how it looks, you know. I think around about there will do fine. That was 23.5, so 24-ish. And then we can drop the opacity down. And it just adds, it's not much, but it just adds an element of something in front of him, you know, so it's not so one-dimensional. Something I wanted to show you earlier, which I probably should have, is I want to change the background color to black. You just double click that, it will change the background from being locked. Blending options, color overlay, and then just select black. Because we're going to rub away some of this background image. We're not going to rub it away, we're just going to layer mask it. So down here in your little selections, you've got add layer mask. Click that, it'll bring this little white box up there. Now whatever you paint black disappears. With the paint, the brush tool, you can just sort of blend it in like so. There. Now I'm aware that we've got a grey bar now going across the bottom. Oops. So we can bring that up a touch more. That layer that we added earlier on top of the bricks just needs bring it up now. So now we've got no harsh line, where the sort of bricks meet the picture that we put in. It's sort of just blended a touch. Now I think it needs a few flares maybe in the corners just to show. Obviously there's light coming from this corner here, and there's a little bit of light coming from here, which means the photographer basically had two lights, one on either side. You can see it on his face as well, to be honest. Why have I got that there? Let's have a look. Is it the bricks? No. Is it that? Yeah. Okay. Let's just put that on top of there. There we go. Okay. So we're going to grab some flares out of the preset pack. Now type in lens flare. Loads of different ones. There's a red one there. Will that work? Nah, it's too much. Maybe just pop it at the side a touch. We are inevitably going to be adding some sort of text across this middle section here. Probably is going to be his name, Tony Grimes. So we could put that little flare there. Maybe add one on the opposite side. For later on, they don't need to be so bright, really. So just bring them down with the opacity tool, which is just above your layers column there. Just bring that down a touch. Anyway, back to the flares. Lens flare sparkle shines. They're really for going on top of text. Lens flare new. That's for making microphones light up. Lens flare 2, I think, is the right one. So let's grab that. Yeah, so now we've got a nice big black lens flare. If you can see that, the background on it is black. This happens a lot when you can't find PNG versions of things that you want. If you want a microphone and you're searching on Google, type in microphone PNG on images, and you'll find one with no background. This flare, I just really liked the look of the flare, but unfortunately it comes with a load of black. So you just pop that where you want, and then on your layer styles, drop down to screen, and that'll take any black away. It basically only leaves white bits of any image, which is great in this situation. And you can also add a color overlay, I believe, certain things, so that can come down. Opacity can come down there. So that's, I think I'm going to make that a lot bigger. Just grab from the side. There we go. Nice little bit of flare at the side there. Have we still got anyone watching? Oh, we've got 15 people. Hello, people. I did say this was going to take a while. It's not. Just so you know, for anyone that's just joined, you can rewind from the beginning. Up to now, all we've done basically is chosen the photos that we're going to use on this poster, and we've just basically started layering the background of the poster. We've put his main image at the top, we put some bricks in the background, change the colour of the bricks a touch, put some little sparkles on there, which I'm going to take some off in a minute because they don't look right. Put a cloud on, and we're just adding the background layers now. And once we're finished with the background, we're going to do the midground, and then the foreground, and then the text. Yeah, it's not a quick thing, is it, people? Some people are like, oh, can you do me a poster for a tenner? No. Go to bed. Anyway. Not now. I'd probably do it for a tenner now. Not working. I'm only joking. I wouldn't. I'd rather get drunk and design it. I'm doing this one for free. This one's not even a poster he's asked for. Hopefully he likes it anyway, and then I won't have to do his real one. I would share it myself, but Haven't got time. Anyway, so these these light particles that we put on earlier, which are here, there's just a few, and I don't like it when they sort of, hang around on top. Like if I zoom in for you, see there's a bit of one here on his neck, and it just doesn't look great. These ones on his sleeve. So we would get rid of the ones that are on the actual, we'll call it model. So we select paintbrush, make sure that your color is black, go to light particles in your layers here, add a layer mask, turn the size of that down a touch. That's not my cat. And then just paint what you don't want on that layer. So we just make sure that he's not got any of this on him too much. If he wanted to have bits on his suit, he would have put bits on his suit before he came, I suppose. That one there. But as I say, around in the atmosphere sort of, creates a nice little touch. Just fade them a little bit. Okay, so background. I'm sure there's some more bits I could do with that. But let's have a look what we've got, shall we? Sort by date modified. Full texture gradient. Now I know that that's got reds in it. Light top spots. Okay, let's have a look at that. So these are stage lights, which, you don't have to use all of them. I tend to just hide them sort of off screen a touch. Just move that over there. These are all what they call smart objects. So you can double click it and then alter, how that image looks. I can take that, for instance, see the middle? I can take the middle lights away. I don't think it needs all them lights in the middle. So take them away. Control S, that saves it. Doesn't save the original file, which is good. It just saves it as far as your poster is concerned, which is a temporary file. Close that, and he's now only got the two from the corners. Actually, I'm not sure about those. I do this a lot. Add a layer mask and then paint away bits that you don't need, so like them spots on the floor. You might not be able to see them on your screens, but on my screen they're there. Just bring the opacity down a bit more, because I want to fill the background, the top there, just to make it, draw more attention to the image that we're going to put here in the middle later. So we'll put some overlays on top of that background image. I'm so used to working on two screens. It's hard. Let's have a look here. Sparkles. Some sparkles there. These aren't light particles. These are sort of pre-made particles. I don't know whether they're a bit too digital for this, but again, he does do lots of different stuff. Bring them down. So all this is doing, the background, it's just adding texture to your poster. It's the details that make a poster, not it's everything that makes a poster, I suppose. But yeah, honeycomb pattern. I like to do that as well. I like to put sort of overlays across a whole background. That's like a honeycomb. It's only if you've got a sort of theme for something, I guess. And then fade that. It just totally depends on the kind of style of design that you're wanting to put across. It clashes because of the bricks, so you probably wouldn't use that anyway. So let me find something that we would use. Triangle shapes. Background, black particles, full. Might work because red and black always looks good. My living room is designed completely red and black. It's not as black as I like, so it looks like confetti, loads of confetti. So blending options, and then just color overlay, whatever color you want. In my case, black. Okay, and then add a layer mask and take it away from where you don't want it, basically. Don't want it there or there or there. Fade it down. Just adds a bit more texture. It's faded down beyond really use, to be honest, but anyway. Let's find something like lens, like pincushion, diamonds. Doesn't seem like the diamonds sort of geezer, does he? He's not going to appreciate diamonds. And disco balls. A lot of stuff I sort of grab. Each time I'm designing a poster, I'll get something new. And hey, Wayne, I'll get something new that suits the characteristics of that particular poster, suits the personality of the person in their show that they're doing. Like, you know, if this was a disco show, like I did for Robbie Barr the other day, I got this specifically for it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it was something like behind the main front image there, with a layer mask and sort of faded in the background. And then I added some sparkles and some glows and stuff like that. And, you know, you can just, from the type of show and the kind of person they are, that's what you do. But in this case, I've got, at the moment, Tony floating in a cloud on top of a brick wall. Hopefully he doesn't fall off, because all the Kingsmen are busy. That was crap, Dom. Sparkles. Full texture gradient. Okay, so I thought I might end up using this. This is just basically a cool texture. You know, I like to get textures. When I see something nice I just download them. A lot of the time you can pick up poster templates from all over the shop for free, and you can get a lot of, you know, pre-made sort of effects from them. You don't have to sort of make them from scratch, although it is fun making things. You know, you can do that too. And then just go through your sort of layer styles to find one that might complement the design that you've got. Now that's lighten. I like that. It looks cool. You know, obviously it's blocking out a lot of Tony there, so you would bring the opacity down a touch, and then add a layer mask as we've been doing, and then just take away the bits that you don't want. You know, like so. Maybe just around there a touch. Yeah, the background's really coming on now. It's starting to take shape. You say this is just sort of one of 4 layers that make a poster. Who've we still got? Have we got anyone I know? Wayne. I can't see actually who's watching, but looks good. I'm glad that you're all tuning in. Probably doing myself out of a job here, aren't I? This is how I do it. Oh shit, I've got loads of friend requests. I wish I could be more funny. I'm funny in person. I don't mean to look at, I mean, you know, just light blinder. Okay. I'm under pressure now, so let's see if there's any other quick lights that we can pop on there. Let's go that light in there, and we've got loads of different kinds of lights. Let's have a look. I know Robbie Barr would be dying to get his hands on this little kit here. So these are blue. You pop blue on top of red, usually makes purple. And then again, you just go through, and it's probably going to be screen again. 3 layer styles. Lighten. Screen. I like that. What's that? Linear dodge. Yeah, I like that, but I don't like it there. So we're going to pop it further down. Above those. Where are those little sparkles? They can go there. Okay. So that now, the opacity needs to come down. layer mask, take it off him, pass it further down. As I say, this is just to give the background texture that you want. And that's that, really. Let's have a look at a bit of a vignette. Oh, wait there. Lights, I forgot. Lights is something that I do last as well, usually. And that's just finishing touches, you know, just put little flares here and there. But this one I like lately. It's called bokeh. And this is a type of overlay, which I use quite often, to be honest. And it's, I don't know why. Just enter screen, bring the opacity down. This is like, you know, characteristics in a photography lens in the foreground. You just take away the bits that you don't want. Okay. You can basically mess with these backgrounds for days, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to full few bits in there. Where are we? Lines full, right one, orange full texture, honeycomb pattern, feather background, diamonds. No. See, I've got 2 packs. One's on my laptop, which is just there, which I could do with on here at the moment, but it doesn't matter. Let's have a look what lines are. These are literally just lines. You might not even be able to see them on your screens, but what I tend to do is pop them on there, and whatever the sort of main color of the design is, put color overlay on top of the lines for that. So it would be red, but to be honest, the black looks really good. So let's go with black. And then layer mask again. Take out the bits that you don't want. Fade. And voila. I think that's pretty cool for the background. So what you would do is select your top layer in your layers column here. Go down to your very bottom layer, holding shift and click. And then that selects all of them basically. And then down here in your little options panel, you've got create new group. So you just click that little folder icon and it puts them all into one single group. Call it background or BG as I do for ease. And that's it. All your background's in there. You can hide and bring it back. Obviously you want it there because you need to see where you're putting things. Now, if you remember earlier, we cut Tony out of a background. Let me bring it up here for you. New Pro Pics. No, it's Tony Grimes. I've got 28 people now. Yo, Chris, how's it going? Pick up some tips. You've been in the studio for 2 years. You flipping, mind you, I haven't. So yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so we saved a picture that we cut out earlier, and we called it To Use One. Hopefully it goes with the background that we've just designed. Bring that down. No, it doesn't. Okay, so what we need to do there, I often do this, you know, choose the wrong background image, but we've already committed to using that sort of theme and background. So basically you need to make one of those images really big. Now we shoot these images on decent quality cameras, big that, you know, we can blow an image up enough to make the big banners that we make, even the double-sized banners. So we can blow an image up and use part of an image. But anyway, a lot of the time when people are using third-party images and we say, oh, sorry, we can't use that image because it's not big enough, it's because, you know, the cameras weren't very good. Or a lot of the time you're sending us images from Facebook that have been saved on Facebook, and Facebook compresses the quality. So probably would have been better using that as a background image. Anyway, so this is the main front image that we're going to use. As I said at the beginning of this live, I want to make it a center weighted sort of poster. So we'll just open up the background again, hide that for now. Open up this background, go down to the image, the background image of Tony. It's like that. To zoom out a touch because we're going to make that huge, just so that it fits more with that front image being so small. Probably got a bit more room up there as well. Okay. Now, obviously, because we made that so big, the everything else needs tidying up quickly. We've lost the bricks at the background to an extent, but we can now click on his layer mask, grab that what you call it tool, the paintbrush, drop the opacity of the paint down to about 30%, vibrating at me, and just bring in a bit more of that brickwork. And then if you go to a bit too far, right, I want a bit more on that side, a bit more there. If you go too far, you just switch your color over to white and you can bring it back, the bits that you want to bring back at the bottom of his jacket there. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Background particles, have we got any on his face? No, not really. The full texture gradient, that could do with tidying up a touch more because we've made him bigger. Oh, that's way too big, Dom. Oh my god. Let's just bring that opacity back up. Yeah, that's fine. Ooh. Maybe bring it back on his face a touch. And then take away the bit that we don't want. There we go. Okay, so background, cool. Front image, smaller. Makes more sense now. Now, obviously, he's chopped off down here. We're not going to be using that bit anyway. So all that we're going to put down here at the very end of the design is his contact details. So a lot of the time, people either want the contact details or they want no contact details, or they want an area that they can put the date in, that they're performing at said gig. So what we want to do, with that layer selected, to use one, add a layer mask, brush tool, black selected, on 100%, and just take away a bit at the bottom there. Done. Now what I've been finding I like a lot of lately, and you fall, as a designer, you fall into a lot of habits, and basically I've been backlighting a lot of the time, which I'm going to do now because that is what I want to show you. I want to put a big burst of light behind Tony and really emphasize that frontal image. So I have something called the sun, not the crap newspaper. I mean, it's an effect, and it's basically a flare that looks like the sun. If you can see that there. I'll move that up a touch. Could do with going down a bit smaller later, but we'll see. And I've made a mistake already because not only are we having the contact details in front of him, we're also having his name. So I'll just rectify that in a second. But for now, let's go down there to screen. Obviously, the color of that sun isn't really the color that I want to go with. It might be, but for now, what you can do, go to adjustments up here, add a black and white layer, and then Control Alt and G on Microsoft or Windows PCs just clips that layer to the layer underneath. So that being the sun flare, it's just now made it white. There's no color coming through it. It's a bit big, so let's just make that a tad smaller. That's not all. We've got a lot more to add behind him yet. We need to bring that up a touch. And touch. Tony has a company called Interfuture, and I think they do a lot of sort of band management and agency stuff. So I thought originally that it was Interfuture presents Tony Grimes and all the things he does, but it's not. I usually like to put something just up. I'm pointing at the screen. I don't know why I do that. You can't see me. Just up here above his head, I would usually put something like, Interfuture presents Tony Grimes, blah, blah, blah. But I can't do that now. So he's either going to have empty space up there, or you can put something like, male vocalist, or I don't know. If you've got a title for your show and you're a tribute or something, then it helps because you can put your real name up there and then the name of the tribute you're doing a tribute to, the name of the artist you're a tribute to. Anyway, let's crack on. So we're basically adding flares to behind Tony here now, the front image. I have smart guides on, which is in the options on Photoshop. Basically, it lets you know when the image that you're using is in the middle or, a third and whatnot. But anyway, so according to my smart guides, that is slap bang in the middle. And as we're doing a center weighted poster, it helps to know. So let's pop some more bits behind there. See what other flares I've got. I know I've got one called Best, which is like light burst, best rays. So that just has a lot more. I don't know if you can see that. Just has a lot more sort of rays coming off it. Are you all right, mate? The cat just woke up. So we just pop that behind him, and then again go up to filter because them lines are a bit too harsh. Down to blur, Goss on blur, and that just takes the harshness out of the lines. You can drop that down a touch, bring them back. But yeah, about 7. Done. Now it doesn't make sense that there's a big light behind, and it's not. If you was sort of stood in front of someone that was stood in front of the sun, if you was looking at them and the sun was behind them, you'd get glares coming through. So for that, we go on top of that layer. Oh, why am I looking on my other screen for my folder? And for that, we'll use the same flare that we used earlier, which is Lens Flare 2. In fact, no, while we're here, because he's got a nice shiny silver microphone, I have something called Lens Flare New, which I believe should... Yep, that's the right one. And that's just a really white thing. Again, it's got the black background. We'll change that now to screen. And then it's got no black background. But that we can pop on that microphone. Let's have a look. See, naturally, there's already a bit of a shine on the microphone there, if you can see that. Don't know if you can. So just enhance that by popping our flare on the top of it. Cool. Okay. Excellent. For Stanley sent you a friend request. Where are all these friend requests coming from? That's crazy. So now we are Lens Flare 2, as I was saying. So Lens Flare 2 is basically this flare that we used earlier. Set that to screen, and then you can pop it anywhere you like. And now if you look, if I just zoom in a touch, it looks like the lights, creeping through the background, and just, it makes more sense visually in the real world. Let's say, might be a bit too much, but you can turn it down a touch with the opacity. Control J, that just duplicates that. And put one there, but maybe a bit bigger. Okay, again, we can go it depends how low we want this. You know, it can just be up here, to be honest, because I think that makes a bit more sense. Also, don't be afraid to get your eraser out and sort of train where you want this flare to be flaring. Like, I don't really want it on the outside that much, so let me just undo that because I need my hardness up. Right, maybe another one of those on the opposite side. One up there as well. And then the last bit for that would be to grab the layer of Tony, to use one. Grab your lasso tool and just select the top part, the part of him that's sort of in the light, if you know what I mean. Select it, just make a big circle around him. Control J duplicates, so you've got another bit of him on top there. If I remove the back bit, you've got two. So anyway, and then I would go to blending options. Oh, it's over here still. You want to put an outer glow. You don't have to use a colour, but you can do. If I was going to use a colour in this, obviously it'd be red to match everything else. But because the light behind him is white, I'm going to use white. But for now, I'm just going to use red so I can see how much there is. That looks like it'd be good for now. Let's change that to white. And that basically puts a nice white glow around him. But now, because I've done that, obviously it looks like he's cut out more. So you need an inner glow, which is still in your layer styles. Turn the opacity up, select white, distance, that can be normal. Have I gone on layer style? No, I've gone on inner shadow, sorry, inner glow we need. White. And then just till it feels right. The range, I don't know really how to explain that. As I said, I'm not a teacher. I'm just showing you how I do publicity posters, because I had to design one anyway, so I thought I may as well go live and do it. Right, that'll do. Turn the opacity down a touch. Okay, now you just rasterize layer style, because we need to rub out. If you look down here, it just looks like he's got like a glowing belt on. Just grab your eraser tool, make it a touch bigger and less like hardness right down to 0%, and put it at 600. No, bigger than that. 800 pixels, and then just rub away the bottom part of that. So now he's got nice sort of outer glow. It really looks like he's stood in front of a light. Why would you want a dolphin on your poster, Tony? What? A dolphin. I don't know what they're talking about. So, yeah, now he's really, shining. Probably could do with going down a touch. So you just fade that layer a little bit. I am going to probably put a bit of colour in that background as well, in the shine behind him. So with that, we can just turn that black and white layer we put above the sun, knock it down a touch, put a bit of colour in there. Okay, now we're not done yet, but that is backlighting the front image to make him stand out from the back image. But if I'm looking at that, I think the background image just looks a bit too sort of in your face because it's a background image, yet my eyes are still drawn to that more than the front image. So I just probably just fade it down a touch, or no, better yet, we'll put a color overlay on it. I'll color it black, I think. No, cancel that actually. We'll put levels on there. Control Alt J creates a clipping mask for the levels. And then we can bring them down. I'm going to use a color overlay as well anyway. Black. And just turn the opacity of that up. Just a touch. Let's see if we get rid of that. See, I actually like that, to be honest. But we've got the color overlay on there anyway. So, yeah. Okay, so now we've got them back shines on there. We can select all that and call that main image. There are other things that I'll probably put in there at the end, to be honest. You know, a couple of bits of lighting. Someone coming in. Oh, I thought we had a knocker on, which we shouldn't have, because we're on lockdown, apparently. Oh man, people keep sending me friend requests. Hey Ian, how's it going? Lens flare latest. I like that one as well, to be honest. It's sort of comes in from a side, do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Which doesn't really make sense in this poster, to be honest, because of what it is, but we'll just put it there for now and fade it out. Because we are going to be putting his title there, which I said earlier I'd made a mistake. That's because we need to put Tony Grimes in there somewhere. Otherwise, no one will know who you are, mate. No, apart from me. Light lens flare, single line. No, don't really need that. Let me just show you these sparkle shines. These ones are really glitzy sparkle shines. I don't know if you can see them there, but put them there for now and just drop them behind him. There we go. There's one that escapes. I don't know why it has that one up there, but brush tool black, get rid of that. Cool. Right, so for now I'm happy with that. What you can either do is I could realistically bring that main image. Now it's in a folder like we did with the background. I just selected out all that and put it in a folder and called it main image. With that, I could bring it down a touch to sort of there. Where's my center line gone? Smart guides aren't working. That looks middle. And then I could put sort of the title, Tony Grimes, just slightly behind his head. So it's in front of the background image and behind this one in the middle. But we'll see how that looks later. That's why I put everything in folders, so that I can move things around easier when I need to. That cloud, because we made him bigger earlier. Where is the cloud? There it is. That could probably do with going lower down. Yeah, around about there. Turn it up a bit. Okay. I'm definitely going to have to put some more colour in that background as well on behind the main front image, because it looks a bit sort of heavenly, doesn't it? It looks like he's just walking out of the light. So let's just grab the sun flare. blending options, color overlay, not black. I want something like blue, just because we've got some bluey up here. So if we go select blue and go down to work out which color we want. That's quite cool. That's better. It just gives it a bit more, you know, rather than, oh, we've still got the black and white thing on there. Let's just do that again. Rather than it just being sort of white, have a bit of colour and it just makes more sense. Anyway, so let's now add some. I mean, I don't really need any overlays on this picture. There's quite a lot going on already. We do, though. The choice I've got is to put his title behind his head or down here. If I put it behind his head, then I need to do something down here and make him sort of make sense that he's disappearing into nothing. Or I can simply move him up and put the title there, followed by the contact details. Choices. But yeah. On that note, I think I'm going to have a cigarette break, if you don't mind. I've got loads of people messaging me for some reason. Who are you talking to, Ryan Bailey? Loads of flipping friend requests since I started this live. Like 50. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm just going to have a quick cigarette. So everyone watching, go and grab a brew or have a cigarette yourself or do something, because I have to have a break halfway through. We are pretty much at halfway point now. Basically, all I've got to do now is probably add a couple more shines just to take emphasis away from the background image. Add his titles and text and info. And yeah, and then just a case of blending everything with layers and curves later on, which you will see if you come back. Literally 5 minutes. Take me a Copperberg that I haven't drank any of. Let's have a look. Hopefully. Yeah. Cheers, guys. Back in a sec. I'm just going to have a cig. Come on. Sorry, guys. I'm just having my cig and I can see my cat staring at me through the window. He wants to come out. Right, I'm back. Sorry, I've got really long cigarettes, Super Kings. You know, I panic bought them. I'll admit. Bought 3 packets. Should last me 3 weeks, hopefully. Okay, so for anyone that's still watching or just joined, we are designing a publicity poster live from scratch. We've worked on the background. Take that front image off. Basically, I'm not even going to go through it. You can rewind the video if you need be and just skip that fag breakout. And now I'm going to put a load of overlays on. We are using effects packs that I've built up over a few years. If you want to buy them, you can. The link's in the description, in the post. And yeah, if you can as well, because I can't share while I'm live, I don't think. Or I can, but I don't know. Share this for me so that loads of people can watch it. And if you are, quite apt at Photoshop, you can take my tips and tricks for yourself and, try and do it yourself. Obviously, there's no sort of certain way to design a poster. You can design any way you like, but this is how I do Tony's. I try and make sure that every poster's different as possible, but as I say, a lot of the time at the moment, I'm liking this backlit sort of vibe. Sorry, it's the Copperberg. And yeah, depending on the character of the person, the personality, and the style of the photos that you use, all contributes to how the final product looks. So without further ado, let's crack on. Where was I? Right, let's grab my effects pack. I really thought that I had more full overlays than this, but they're all on my laptop. I have different effects packs. Lines, we've used those. White pincushion, we don't need that. Blue lights. Let's say anything can go like this. What's this? Blue light flares full. Let's just pop that on there for now. Obviously, it looks no good like that, but the tick. You can go through your layer styles and just sort of find one that you like. Sometimes, you can just fade them. Add a layer mask to that. Paint the bits out that you don't want, like there. Bring that down a touch, opacity-wise. Yeah. Okay, so Tony, if you're still there, I don't know if you're still there, but into future bit on for demo purposes. Thank you. Great. So for now, we're gonna mess around with the text, and then we'll do some alterations at the end. Let's pop that in background. So I'm going to add some text now. Fonts. I will include all my fonts that I've downloaded. I'll be honest with you, they are free fonts, royalty-free fonts, because you've got to be careful with fonts, believe it or not. A lot of tribute artists use fonts that, are either similar, which is safe, or are the original fonts that the person they're a tribute to uses. You got to be careful sometimes, especially if you're using copywritten fonts. You'll know that the copywritten, because sometimes they'll have, like, I don't know, ABBA, for instance. If you're an ABBA tribute, everyone uses it, I know, but they'll have the little TM at the end of ABBA, or like a little copyright sign. It just means it's trademarked. So you're not really supposed to use it. Everyone does. But it's up to you. So for this Tony's company, Into Future, I'm aware I'm not using your font, Tony. Because I think Into Future has its own font. Into Future. No, Dom, you've written that wrong. Future Presents. So let's just make that a bit bigger so everybody can see it. Turn it white. Okay, so for this kind of bit, it's not the main sort of text. It's just subtext. So I use something font called Lato a lot of the time. Lato Light, maybe. I'll just go regular for now. Turn the font size down. I have my character box set there. So if you go in Windows, you can choose what windows you want to have over in this part of your Photoshop program. My character's set over here. So spread them out a touch. If you noticed, I've made the text box really wide. Basically, I have it center weighted and put the text box to each side of the poster so that I know that whenever I write anything, it's in the middle, basically. And then let's set that to light or thin and have it smaller and pop it up there a touch. So I don't know if you can see that. Oh no, that might be a bit too thin. Let's go the next one up, which is light. It's a bit thicker. Even more. Oops. It's because it's so small, it's difficult to see. Obviously, even though it's subtext, you need to make sure that it's easily readable. And we'll make the one above medium. Okay, so we've got now, if I zoom in for you, into future presents. Have I wrote that right? Yeah. That's something that, you got to be careful of. And everybody does it, makes mistakes, spelling mistakes. Photoshop does have a spell check, but I never use it. I'm not going to do the main title just yet. So I'm going to pop on the contact details. So again, text box from side to side. There. Drop that down. Details I'm going to drop at the bottom. We've got more watches after my cigarette break. We lost some over the cigarette break, but that's okay. They can catch up later on. And now we're still going to use Lato font because I don't like to use too many different fonts. Some people have posters and they've got like each line is a different font, and for me it just feels messy and not not professional. But there's no rules really, so it's totally up to them. It's just my opinion. Aesthetically, I just think it looks better with a maximum of sort of 2 or 3 fonts per poster. Okay, so Tony, I hope you don't mind people seeing your contact details. And I'm just making the contact details up. So I'm going to put for booking and info. And then I would tend to have the telephone number. Copy that. It's in there. And then the email address. That. Paste in there. And then if they have a website, I pop the website on there, but he doesn't have the website that he wants to put on, so he wants to put on his Facebook page, which is fair enough. Everybody uses Facebook nowadays. I don't know the last time I've used a website to book anybody. Okay, so obviously that is all the same font, but layout needs changing. So let's just play with that a touch now. For booking and info, we'll make it dead small. The telephone number is an important part, so we'll bring the spread down and size up. Move that down a touch. The email address, that can go up a touch, but spread down. And then the Facebook address. Facebook address is really, you don't need to have, just so you know, Tony, you don't need to have the .com in there, and you don't need the www.facebook. You've written that wrong, mate. There we go. Yeah, that's another thing as well for any other designers watching this. Check your client's spelling as well as your own, because most of the time, or some of the time, they even get it wrong and still blame you. Anyway, right, let's move that telephone number down a touch more and bring the rest of it down. I'm going to put an underline underneath booking, and then Facebook link and go smaller and drop down, and email and drop down. And there we go. That'll do for that. I may put some effects on that later to make it stand out a touch more. But for me, it's quite clean cut, because there is a touch more info that we need to put in here. Because Tony's shows, or whatever you want to call them, is more than normal. So he is a DJ, singer, compere, wedding party host. Oop, I'm getting a call. Decline that. Wedding party host and a surprise singing waiter. So we'll put that here, just as he fades into nothingness. Take the underline off, make the size bigger, bring the distance down. Boom. Okay, so yeah, he's not faded into nothing now. There's a bit of text there to hide that, but I still think that it could do with something. So do you remember the cloud we made earlier in the background? If you're still watching from the beginning, I applaud you, because I know I've been chatting on and taking me time. We could sort of copy that. Where is it? Cloud background there. Duplicate, I should say, just see it come up in the background a bit more. Pop that above the main image. Maybe turn the effects off for now, because if you remember, we put a smart filter on it. Gosse en bleu. That always reminds me of French. It might be French, I don't know. Okay. Bring that down and just sort of put it over them bricks, but behind the text and on top. And on top of the main front image. Okay. Them effects, bit too vibrant, I think. So we might change the colours. Before we had a sort of dark grey, we was matching the background, but now we've added in a few more colours. So maybe make the central colour a bit more like this purple there. A bit darker. Oh no, not that. Yeah. And then this orange colour, which is really not very nice. Probably go with a bit of red. A bit more red, maybe. Okay. It's kind of brown, but who cares? And there we go. Okay, and then pop them smart filters back on. Ooh, but because the cloud's now smaller, we need to turn the smart filters down a touch. I'm vibrating a lot. Damn, I've missed half of this. Sorry, Caroline. You can rewind to the beginning. I did select the ability to rewind option, I think. So all should be good. Maybe just wait until I've finished. I'm not far off. It's just going to be the main sort of title text now. And then I think you should be able to sort of watch from the beginning. Anyway, I'm liking how it's coming together. It looks nice. It's probably going to need a few tweaks. I do that often. I'll finish a poster, go and have a dinner, come back, and then look at it and go, need to change this, need to change that, and yeah, it's just sort of your own second opinion. So a lot of people get giddy and they'll do a poster and go, yeah, that's great, bang it on Facebook, and then think, oh, could have done a bit better there. So I try not to do that. It's like this background highlights behind the front image there. I would probably say we could tone that down a touch now after looking at it. Just a little bit. There we go. Yeah. And down here by the text, I also think there could be something in there a bit more flairier maybe, but we'll sort that out at the end. We'll do some tweaks. For now, I need to figure out how we want to do his name. So I'm going to have it between the background layer, which is that one, and the main image, which is that one. So we're going to put the title between them too. Whereas the rest of the text is on the top. So I'm going to put that in a folder now, call it text details. This cloud now that's behind the text but in front of the main image, that would be your top elements. So just pop that in there, which, by the end of a poster, there's usually a load of top elements. So just double click that to name it again, top elements. Okay, so, a bee just full on flew into my window. Anyway, background. So we click on the background folder so that we can do the title text. Again, stretch text box from side to side. Title in this case is simply his name because it's not a tribute. It's Donny Grimes. Control A, selects all. It's going to be pretty big. My separation is too much. We'll put it on black, which is heavy. Make it big. Now, not many people know this, but on your Photoshop, if you have got Photoshop already, let's just stretch that a bit over just so I can make it clear. On your Photoshop, it does come with preset styles. Now, your styles are just up here, or they are for me anyway. You might have to go to Window and select Styles, which is there. But for me, they're in the tab next to Adjustments. You just click on there, and Photoshop does come with a load of pre-made styles. I like to hunt for different styles on the internet and find free styles that I can download and load into Photoshop. The only trouble with that is then you end up, like me, with hundreds of different ways you could have text styles. I used to sort of just do my own text style from scratch every time. And, I could be messing around with a text style for half an hour. Whereas now, it just takes the time out of it. I use one that someone else has done. That was quite simple. And basically tweak it to suit my poster. So there's loads and loads of different styles that you can use. I really think the purple stands out on the red. We have got hints of purple up there. If you remember, we put the blue in there and faded it over the red so it looks purplish, and then we've got the cloud with the purple overlay. So I think purple would be something that I'd like to go with, but we shall see. I also like the glitter effect. So there is a glitter effect on here, if I can find it somewhere. As I said, it's a nightmare because I've downloaded so many. What's that? Nope. No. 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 It's sort of a gold pattern sort of overlay. It's annoying me now that I can't find it because I've got aha. Boom. Right. So this is really versatile. Oh wait, there. I've already done a purple glitter. So and it's called Dom's Gold. Right. So that was the original. I don't know if you can see that very well. I'll just zoom in. That was the original. And then I converted that to look like that, which is like sort of gold grain. It's sort of like sparkly sand. And then I've gone further and made a purple glitter. Now this, if I remember rightly, I'd made for Robbie Barr. So obviously you don't really want to be using the same overlays again. So, but as I say, I like the purple glitter, and I believe that since I made that for Robbie Barr, it's been changed anyway. So get rid of that drop shadow because it looks awful. The stroke, that doesn't need to be there. And if it does, we'll change that. Inner glow, don't need that. Satin, don't know what that one's for. Color overlays, obviously how I made it purple. Pattern overlay, that's the gradient pattern in the background. Outer glow, that just gives it the white outer glow. So I mean, Tony, you might think that's a bit not you really, so let's change it up till it is. Before I do that, what's that? Actually, the font first. Let's do the font because I don't like that font. I don't need that. Because we've got quite a sort of normal, I don't know what you call them, normal font, top and bottom. You could get away with doing a scripty font for the title. So if you go down here and just where it says all classes, change that to script. You've got all your script fonts there. That one's Abuget. That's pretty cool. And script fonts you can usually make a lot bigger as well. But they are harder to read. A lot of people don't like them for that fact. I'm just going to change that to, is that glass? That's glass. I don't want glass. Just something easier to read for now. Nope. Reminds me of going surfing. Let's just make it blue for now. Right. Fonts, that's another thing that you can be sat there for hours going through. You don't necessarily, there's no right or wrong font. There's just things that complement and don't, Nah. It might actually be better at being sort of bold font, but we shall see. Let's have a look at some more. I'm glad to see everyone's still there. Looking cool. Abuget is my logo font. I love it. I won't use that one then, mate. Early Bird. I do like Early Bird, but it's not for this. No. I'm leaning towards having just a normal sort of font. I do have some cool ones, but that looks like a tattoo. Miracle. Nah. Nope. Right, so let's have a look at, what's that one? Bella Fashion. Nah, I'm going to go with a normal font. So let's go on all classes and then find what I would usually use for something like this. Probably should have come on first and gone, I'm going to use that font for this flipping Facebook Live. We got the old, that's definitely not Tony. cheerful party. See, it needs to be something bold as well, not like just a normal font, but something bold and heavy, like a statement sort of font, I feel, for this sort of poster, rather than having something, you know, skinny. Nobody likes skinny anymore, do they? Obviously not me. Actually, let's see if I have the bold font. Ooh. Let's have a look at that one. Definitely don't like that style that I've put on, so let's just change that for now. That's glass again, different kind of glass. As I say, you can get these text and layer styles from the internet pretty much anywhere, and use them to alter stuff yourself. I do like that. Let's go with that for now. I might, you know, change a bit later. Tony Grimes. You see, it may even benefit this from being really big. So let's drop that down there. Make it huge. Drop it down further. Bring that up there. Make that one small. I don't know, it kind of looks like a flipping film poster now, doesn't it? Like a front cover of a book. Mind you, you know, that's what you're selling, isn't it? You're selling. Right, so for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double that up. Control J doubles it up, and then I'm going to add my purple layer that I said that I'd made earlier, and bang that on top. Get rid of the drop shadow, get rid of the bevel and emboss, get rid of the stroke, and then bring the opacity down and put that on top of the other one. And I really like that texture now. Now, Tony here is a little bit dark, so what can we do with that? Let's separate it. And how you would do that is you would duplicate both of those, and then just simply delete the bottom layer. Has that done it? Or has that not done it? Oh, yeah, it's the next one. So let's hide that one. Delete that one. And it's lighter. There we go. Okay. So that's how it's looking up to now. It may need moving up a touch. Let's put this in a folder and call it title. Move that up a little bit. He probably won't like that colour, to be honest. I might need to just change it a little bit. Let's add a bit of blue. Oh, it is blue. Let's hide that. Colour, where is it? Gradient overlay. Oh, that's the Tony bit, isn't it? What's that one? Tony Grimes. What's that? Stroke, outer glow. Let's just go on the effects for that one anyway. Okay, so it's the gradient. That's what's giving it the majority of its purpleness. So just change that a touch, bring it down, more toward the blue. Yeah. And then again with this one, more towards the blue. Okay. And then this one, we'll get there in the end, guys. More towards the blue. That's really not how it looked before. There we go. That one on the blue. Boom. Okay. Okay. Copy layer style. And bang that onto that one. Paste layer style. And then bring that back and that back. And there we go. That's more, in my eyes, more Tony's, less purple, tad more blue, but still fits in with the rest of the poster. Cool. Surprise singing waiter spell check. Yep, thank you. I did do that before. See, as I was saying, I would have done that at the end anyway, Stephen. But that's copied directly from Tony. So check your client's text as well as your own. So singing waiter, party host, wedding party host, compare, singer, DJ. Spelled DJ wrong. The Entertainer UK at Gmail. See, Tony, The Entertainer. That'd have been a great title. I could have had Tony Grimes presents The Entertainer. Flipping. What's his name? I'm the Entertainer. Okay, so that's looking pretty good to me. I've got levels to add on afterwards, which I'll put up there for now. And this that Stephen just pointed out, actually, because it is slightly different, because it's more of a subtitle, but it's not, info. I tend to want to change the color of that a touch. So let's select blue, go up there. No, let's go to red. See, it's still like really visible, but it's not as white as the rest of it. And also add a drop shadow on it, just so it stands out a touch more. Like normal. Let's bring the size down. Oh, don't use global light. Global light really annoys me. Distance. Size. There we go. So drop shadow just basically makes anything stand out from the background a touch more. Okay. Still not happy with that. What's it called? Title style. So let's grab the title and we'll work on the actual folder rather than them individually. Now we've got a sort of, that's cool. Just simply white. Let's say you can be there all day really going through these different flipping styles of font, styles of layer styles. Jesus, been here too long. Can't believe I've been doing this live now, however long, and only drank a quarter of my Copperberg. Cheers, everybody. If you're at home bored, drinking, while you're watching me on Facebook. Let's have a look. No. That could work. We'd have to take the color overlay off. Gradient overlay off. No. What's that? That's quite nice. That might work with a bit more of a glow from the back. So let's add that in. Outer glow. Set it to screen for now. Size up there, range down. Bring that down a touch. No, that needs to come down. I am absolutely starving. I'm going to have dinner soon and then do another one of these. Let's turn that up a touch. Okay. That's the one. So that just makes it stand out a bit more. I'm not sure that the G on that Grimes makes it look like Tony Crimes. Okay. Now, I'm quite happy with that for now. So I'm going to add some sparkles and stuff to it. Not that he's a very sparkly person, but for demonstration, you know. So in here, I've got my effects pack. Just to, recap, my effects pack that I've built up over many consecutive years of designing, you can buy. There's a link down there. Let me know and I will send it over to you. It's got everything from backgrounds to lighting effects, different flares and overlays and stuff. Really, the elements that make a poster stand out from the norm, if you know what I mean. And I've categorized everything and made everything, easily accessible. Speaking of which, I need some shines. Lens flare sparkle shines. Cool. Ooh. Let's pop them where we want them. So obviously I prefer these sort of shines to be on the edges of text. I'm always quite lucky with this one because it's not one at a time, it's a few, and usually if you just careful where you place them, you can usually get them more or less on the edges, and you can hit quite a few at once if you're lucky. In this case, I might not be. Okay. But also the good thing is, with this one, you get one by itself. So if we duplicate that layer, bring it over here, look just here, there's one all by itself. So the rest of it you can basically erase, get rid of, and then just pop that one wherever you want it. Control J duplicates, and you can move it to others. This layer style, I don't know if you can see that close because majority of you are probably watching on phones, but if you are watching on a computer and you've got me full screen, this layer style font actually has some highlights around the edges, which is where I would suggest putting any of your flares, just so that it feels natural for it to be there. Really, you won't put a flare in a dark area for no reason. Hands up on my phone while I'm reading the messages. Who's been here since the beginning? I'm excited to know. Let's have a look at that. Forgive me for not talking. The office, when we're usually in studio, is a very quiet place, unless we've got music on, because everybody's always, got the concentration faces on. Don't like that one there. One of those, and you can change the sizes of them just so that they, some are a bit smaller than others. If everything's exactly the same, it's just doesn't look natural. Put one up there in that corner. Something about there doesn't look right to me, so I'm going to move that, find out where that one is. Nope. Which one's that? That one's fine. That one's fine. Huh? There we go. That one can go over there. Nope. Let's make it smaller. So apparently, the other half has been sharing this video in a load of groups, and loads of people are asking for the effects pack, which is cool. Basically, all I will do is send you a download link for you to download it, and you can use it to your heart's content forever. And it just gives you, well, basically everything that I use and more, because some of it I don't use. What are these? King tool. How'd you pick that out, Stephen? Anyway, okay, so we've got that there. Now I'm thinking this cloud at the bottom, which is top elements, if I remember rightly, could do with a little bit less. Let's put it on color dodge for now. Cool. Okay, we're pretty much there, I would say. Just change these levels. Now levels, I always stick levels at the top of my design. Just levels are here on your adjustments panel. And I simply put it on the top just so that I can get an overall feel, end sort of feel for the poster. So to the left, that controls your shadows, and then you've got your mid, and then you've got your highlights. These little arrows at the bottom there, you just move them side to side until you get something, that you like. I mean, it already looks good, but sometimes you can just add an extra sort of sense of three-dimensionality, if you know what I mean, to a design. And I'm happy with that. If I show you, you probably can't see too much the difference on there, but that's it without, sort of cloudy-ish, and then that's just added a bit more contrast, and everything pops a touch more, if you know what I mean. Now, the last bit that I did say at the end we would do some tweaks is the top elements. So in here you would have lights and different sort of overlays, and this is where the effects pack that I'm selling really comes into, really sort of shines, excuse the pun. Let's have a look at spots. Oh, not on this computer. So let's try this one. Spotlight down to new. So I've got spotlight down new. That means just one side, and then two is double-sided. These are spotlights. I'll show you here. My computer's just looking for them because they're in an external hard drive, so bear with me a sec. There we go, and boom. So they're two spotlights, as you can see here clearly, but I'm not bothered about these little power cans on the top. They can go away. It's the beams that I like coming off them. With a center weighted poster, it's always good to create that sort of V shape sort of with lighting, so that you can, urge the viewer to look straight into the middle. And because we are more wanting to concentrate on this guy down here, I'll drop that further down. There. Oh, and then change the layer style to screen. That just takes away any imperfections in an image that you might have got from the internet. So if there's any sort of colours in there, any blacks or anything, you only want the whites really for this. So now that doesn't look like it needs to be in the top elements to me. It looks like it needs to be somewhere around the main image. So we'll just bring that down and probably pop it behind him. Yeah. And then that way we know, oh wait, the title text, yeah, it's still going to be over the title. Don't worry, we'll change the opacity shortly. So we'll put it behind the title. There. And we'll probably even duplicate it as well. So we've got two of them. Just move it to the middle so that it's even on each side. Drop the opacity down a touch more. And then duplicate that. Another one. And bring that down here. And turn the opacity down on that even further. Sorry, the one underneath, go down further as well. And yeah, I'm liking that poster. That's it, I guess. Cheers, mate. Great work, Tins. You're welcome, Tins. Almost 2 hours, pal. Yeah, that's because I've been talking. Usually, a poster like this would take me between 20 minutes and 45 minutes. Maybe an hour if I'm struggling with, fonts and bits and bats like that. But normally, when I'm not talking and having fag break, well, I don't need fag breaks, but when I'm not talking people through it, then it takes a lot less time. Yeah, as I say, I'll probably come back to that later and think, oh, I could change this and do that, and it's never ending. I could probably try. I might do that tonight when I do another one. The next time I do another one, I might try my best to just show you what one looks like that I knock together in 10 minutes. In comparison, sometimes the best ones I've done have been 10-minute posters, and it's just they're dead simple, and it's hit and miss. It depends on the pictures that you use. It's quite lucky. I just did one the other day. Was it a Buble? No, it wasn't. It was a really sort of croony style poster. It was an evening with kind of vibe, and that was simple but effective. When you looked at the finished product, it was so good. It was just in your face, nice, and that was literally a really quick poster. And I've done other ones that weren't as good that took ages, but I'm quite happy with this one. I could probably maybe change the font to something less sort of Christmassy, now I'm looking at it. But as far as posters go, that's pretty much encompassed a lot of the things that I do. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, but yeah, 2 hours, not bad. Great, fantastic work on that. We'll definitely have a go at Photoshop more. You should. Photoshop's a fun thing to play with. You can. There's no right or wrong answer to anything in Photoshop. Everything's possible. I could maybe do some more videos, quicker ones, showing you how to retouch faces and make people slimmer and take the wrinkles away and stuff like that. Photoshop 101 kind of stuff, but this was more just to show artists that do their own posters or that are thinking of wanting to have a go. Now everybody's broke. That this is more just for that sort of area in my Photoshop experience. Yeah, so from there, I would just save that as that's too big, I can't see. Save that as a large document format. I just call it poster 1 for every single poster that I ever make, because they're all in separate folders. Save that, and then save it as a PNG. And then I would send it to the client and say, how'd you like this? And 9 times out of 10, it's great, and they don't want anything changing. Sometimes they do, which I'm happy to do. So just to recap, I just designed a poster from scratch. You can sort of play that back from the beginning, skip through, skip little bits where I go for cigarette breaks or whatever, and have a look. If you are interested and you would like I haven't really shown you that much of it, but it is so big, the file that I can send to you with all the pre-made effects in. So it's got all these sort of little things, like, I don't know, for instance, if I just grab this one thing and just drag it in here just to show you, that is the sky, so with a split in the middle. So you put that up there. It'd usually be for a background image, and just multiply that for now. But there's loads of different things in my effects preset file, and we've got another one here, which basically backgrounds, all sorts of different backgrounds in there, and then there's another with miscellaneous artwork. We haven't used that in this one, which I probably could. Like, you can get them, but it's just everything's in one place. This is just miscellaneous stuff, which is, you probably won't use. I don't know if you caught that. There's one in there called Girls. I make a lot of club poster. I'm not going to open that just in case, but I make a lot of club posters, and they usually tend to want girls on them, half naked. No, not them kind of clubs. But anyway, graphics. Music related obviously gets used a lot. There's disco balls and cassette tapes and CDs, and there's the ABBA logo I mentioned earlier with the R sign registered, whatever that means. But all these kind of things, like the lights and stuff, the ways to manipulate them into Photoshop, into your posters, just to make it, stand out. This, for instance, would probably go really well with this style of poster, which I haven't used for some reason. I'll just pop that down there. Let's just try and integrate it, shall we? I know I said it was finished, but also, like I said, it never really is. You can just keep going and going and going. But what I'm going to, I was thinking it might look good, but it also might look like a load of zombies trying to get at him. I don't know. Let's just bring that down a touch. All right, and then you would layer mask it. Just that little button at the bottom. Grab your paintbrush and just take out the bits that you don't want. Right up there, around the sides. Fade it down. It's on lighten anyway, but what else have we got? We had something else in there then that I thought would be cool. I just can't remember. These light blinders. If I go into, I think there may be some in backgrounds as well. Yeah, that one maybe, because it's orange. You stick that just there behind him. Move it over. Who cares? You're here anyway. May as well get yourself a brew. And set that to screen maybe, or lighten. Screen. It kind of looks like the All Together Now sign now, unfortunately. You can make it smaller, I guess. And the opacity. kind of thing. Probably have to move them down, but yeah, there's endless possibilities with Photoshop. Basically, you can do anything. I'm just thought I'd do a little live and show you how I design my posters. Let me get rid of that. And basically, yeah, that's it. I'm going to put this poster in the comments afterwards, and you can download and have a look at it, maybe closer up. But yeah, if you're interested and you either want me to design your poster, that's fine. I do them at £40 a poster, or £30 for return customers, people that have had them off us before. If you want to try and do them yourself and you fancy buying my presets pack, that's fine too. That's 20 quid. If you don't want anything and you want to have a pop at it yourself anyway, and want to, get in touch and ask me how to do certain things, that's totally free. You can do that because I like talking to strangers. Just give us a bell or, message on Facebook and I'll help you out, of course. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to have to try and figure out how to stop this live now. I've been going for God knows how long. Can't see. Camera permission still denied. There we go. 2 hours and 18 minutes. Jesus. Can't believe I've been going on for that long. I did have a sig break though. Anyway. Just going back to them lights before we go, just to make them fit with everything else. Color overlay. Let's go for blue for now. Normal. Oh no, it doesn't work because we've already got a layer style on it. Anyway, just a thought, we could change the color of those. I do have some blue ones somewhere. I might change it before I upload it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to let you go now. I took up way too much of your time and mine. And I'm never doing this again. I'm only joking. Next one I do, I'm going to make a sort of 10-15 minute one. And we'll see the difference. But thank you for watching. Hope you're all well. Stay strong, stay safe, don't go out and all that. You don't need to go out. Stay in here with me for 2.5 hours. Adios.